Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to the Shadow Report, your news and views program about geek gaming culture on said internet. Caught up in the show today, Hellena Taylor actually responds to the documents that were uncovered, and she can't keep her story straight. We're going to talk a lot about that. And because I wanted to tackle this in the same video, could we be getting a Parasite Eve remake soon? A tweet that was posted may be giving us some clues that we may be seeing it. This is a Geek Gaming Culture channel. My name is JD. All of this and the OCRemix Track of the day comes your way right about now. Well, Hellena Taylor decided to respond to the allegations that she was not telling us the entire truth and lying by omission when she was saying that she only got a 4K flat rate for Bayonetta 3, and that's why she XH left. As you well know, there was this whole thing where she posted 3 separate Twitter videos concerning the whole ordeal, and we went over that by bit. We broke it down, and we particularly said that there was some weird stuff that was going on in her statement. And then came the Bloomberg article, and VGC confirmed it and corroborated it with their own sources. Became a whole mess. Now, many people were saying that they didn't know whether or not they were telling the entire truth or not, who was saying what. But when you take into account some of the other things, you can no doubt see that the proof and the truth and the burden of truth was on her and not Nintendo or Platinum Games because of the other red flags. Now, at this point in time, you could still say, maybe they might need to prove it, but keep in mind is that Hellena Taylor has not been asked to prove anything by her stance. Not one thing. No receipts have been asked for. No statements have been asked for to say, hey, this is exactly what she was offered. This is exactly what she was being asked to do. Nothing of that sort. But when you go to Platinum Games and Nintendo, they're asked to expose the entire thing, every single last little detail, and even that might not be enough for them. So there's a bit of a double standard right now when we come to that. And before I go any further, yes, I have seen James Stephanie Sterling's latest Jimquisition. I got a few things to say about what exactly is going on with that, and I would wish the Jim would stop doing this whole thing where they keep attacking gamers for the stuff that they said about Jennifer Hale when it was the minority and the people that were trying to defend Hellena Taylor and trying to find any avenue imaginable, any back road imaginable in order to say that she was completely in the correct. And I hate when they do that. I don't like when they do that because it shows that no one was on Jennifer Hale's side. And keep in mind, the reason we say that is because Hellena Taylor, through all of this, had decided to take a swipe at Jennifer Hale. And yes, this is going to be my response to the Jimquisition this week because I feel as though this is not the end of it. We'll get to that in a moment. But to this point, why we're covering now is because she has decided to come out and say something else after she said she wanted to put the whole thing behind her. Yeah, so much for putting the whole thing behind her. In a series of tweets, which is laughable at best because, well, she just admitted she was lying. Has come to my attention that some people are calling me a liar and gold digger. They didn't say that, but yeah, now that you say it, maybe you are. I feel the need to defend myself and my reputation in the industry. Well, yeah. See thread. Now, listen to these hashtags. Platinum Games, Nintendo, Bayonetta, Bayonetta 3, Bayonetters, boycott. She's still thinking we should boycott the game. Nintendo Europe, Nintendo America, Nintendo Japan. Wow, that's a lot of to put in your tweet. As I posted on part 3 of my video thread, I explained that their first offer was too low. That offer was $1,000 total. Remember, this is $450 million franchise, not counting merchandise, and then wrote in Japanese to Hideki Kamiya asking for what I was worth. Now, stop right there. She's doubling down on the $450 million franchise thing. This has been debunked beyond belief. There is no way, no matter how many times that it's been trying to be spun, that this franchise was worth that much. Yes, it is a niche franchise. Yes, it is going to be popular, but it's still niche. It's not on that level that Super Smash Bros. Is. The only way you can really do that is if you add Super Smash Bros. Into the mix. There's no other way around it. It has to be Super Smash Bros. Even when she factors in some of the other things that some people are saying that she kind of is factoring in, is the total amount that was shipped, which It's not the same thing, and it still would not add up. There was absolutely no other way that she can even come close to that figure that she's trying to say that the franchise was worth. I don't know why she continues to double down on this when she was getting served about this. There is absolutely no way she can do it. There's no path there. I don't know why she's doubling down on it. I thought that as a creative, he would understand. He replied saying how much he valued my contribution to the game and how much fans wanted me to voice the game. I was then offered an extra, now this is a number I'm not understanding. I think it was either $5,000 or $50,000 because she's putting the comma in a weird spot. Either she added an extra zero in there or she put the comma in the wrong place. It's supposed to be $50,000, which would be, wow, that would be a lot of money she would be offered. Or an extra $5,000 she added an extra zero. I don't know. But that makes it a little bit weird. So, declined to voice the game. I then heard nothing from them for 11 months. Then offered me a flat fee to voice some lines for $4,000. Any other lies, such as $4,000 for 5 sessions, are total fabrications. No, they are not. Because the $1,000 total is still not making sense. $10,000, and if you can account maybe she was offered $5,000 at this weird way she's framing this number, is $15,000. That's $15,000. That's where you're getting the $4,000 for 5 sessions. So this makes no sense. Either you were given $15,000 or you're doing the $4,000 for 5 sessions. Burden of proof is on her. Where is she getting this number? And plus, keep in mind that she had initially said first offer was too low, a ridiculous amount. So she went to him and said whatever she said and was given the $4,000 flat fee. But in this one, she said $10,000 and then an extra $5,000 or $50,000, whatever it was. This makes no sense. First of all, what is this number? This is not a real number. 5,0000. That is not a real number. Where are you getting that from? You're still hanging on the $450 million franchise thing. And now you're saying you get $10,000 and then I would assume it's $5,000, maybe $15,000. Yes, it's still a little bit low, but when you factor in the fact that you're saying the wrong thing about what the franchise was worth, holy crap, this is not adding up. Nothing here is adding up. And this is why you need to have receipts. You need to be saying the exact truth and then showing us proof that shows us what exactly you were offered. Because we can't take your word for it. We shouldn't have taken your word for it right then and there. We should have told you, hey, you need to give some proof. But when we go to Platinum Games and we see and hear something from them, all of a sudden we need to hear every single last little bit of evidence that they ever have. Break NDAs if you have to. But the second she says something, we're going to believe her? Just the fact that it's her that said it? I don't think so. If Platinum Games have to do it, you have to do it. If we're asking Platinum Games to give us Fort Knox, she's got to give us Fort Knox. There were not extensive negotiations. I've also been informed of ridiculous fiction, such as I asked for $250,000. Now here comes a big thing. I am a team player. I was just asking for a fair living wage in line with the value that I bring to this game. That you bring to this game? First of all, you're putting yourself on a really high pedestal in conjunction with a lot of people that are working on this game. You're once again not factoring in that there are several people that are also working on the game. Developers, coders, the sound people, the other voice actors, which you are once again not factoring into this. Remember, you were the one that threw Jennifer Hale under the bus, and you're not apologizing for that. You're not factoring that in, that you were the one to do that. But here's the thing. Is it just me, or did she not deny it? The asking for residuals, or this 6-figure thing. No one said that she was asking for $250,000. She said she was asking for 6 figures. So it couldn't be $250,000, but maybe $200,000 or $150,000. She's not exactly denying any of this. But she's saying, hey, I didn't lie about it, but I'm here lying about it. And the last little bit, I was paid a shockingly low total of £3,000 total for the first game. Keep that in mind. A little more for the second. I wanted to voice her. I have drummed up interest in this game ever since I started on Twitter in 2011. So this is the first time she's saying that she was paid something for the first game. What about the second game? And plus, that total, first of all, is in a specific currency, which she has not done throughout the entirety of this whole ordeal unless we count flat fee. So we're led to believe that she's talking about US dollars. But now she's using a different form of currency that would change the story a little bit, because I don't know the conversion between pounds and US dollars, but maybe she needs to rethink what she's saying here, or do what lawyers should have said Amber Heard to do. Shut up. She just put herself into a bigger hole. Platinum Games gave Bloomberg documents and VGC documents. Burden of proof is on her. Why are we not asking for proof? And to their credit, people are starting to ask her for some proof here, because something doesn't add up in this either. $1,000 total, then an extra whatever that number was supposed to be, because she obviously did a typo there, or autocorrect, is not really that high, but it's better than what she originally told us she was going to get. Plus, $10,000, then when she went to the CEO, they were offered extra. That would be the $15,000. Then she's saying that there's no way it could be $4,000 for a total of 5 sessions. That's the number in which Agent Schreier, and I can't believe I'm simping for him right now, because you all know what I think of him. And by the way, no one has ever said that he misreports or fabricates stories. No one said that. But then him and someone else was saying that they got actual physical documents they can hold in their hand and look at. That is not the same thing as take our word for it. There, take our word for it. No, hand them documents. Somebody who was not supposed to give them documents gave them documents, said, this is the proof. This is the truth of the story. Go look at it. All you have to do is physically look at it through your eyes. It's in writing. And now she's coming back after she said she didn't want to talk about this anymore and it was lies. All of a sudden now she's coming back and saying all this garbage. And I could tell you there might be a reason why this is, because she has a feeling this is not going to stop here, and I don't think it's going to stop here. As much as we wanted this to end and her to just go away, because she still hasn't apologized for that swipe at Jennifer Hale, she's standing by everything she said, but she's admitting she's lying, but then saying she hadn't lied at all. That doesn't make any sense. This is her admitting she's lying. This is her admitting she's lying through her teeth. And I have a feeling that Nintendo Platinum Games are looking at this and saying, maybe this is something we might have to take further action on. Because she's ruined her reputation. There's no doubt she's ruined her reputation. She's saving her reputation from what? Herself? This is exactly why you have to be able to give receipts for the Emperor's New Clothes. Get receipts from the person who's saying it, because the burden of proof is on her. She's the one who made the claim. So why did we not do that? And then Nintendo Platinum Games are sitting there probably saying, we're going to file a suit against her on this woman, because it's obvious she ain't going away. It's obvious that she says one thing and then does another thing, and then she's saying all sorts of different things that don't make a bit of sense. It's like she came from the Amber Heard school of lying. Amber Heard couldn't keep her story straight, neither can she. And I have a feeling, and I hope that Nintendo Platinum Games are listening, are paying attention, and they are thinking about it, because if she's going to keep doing this and keep trying to damage a franchise that she said she loved, she wanted to come back to it. Obviously, she didn't want to come back to it that much in order to just say the truth about what was going on. I have a feeling she's trying to throw everybody under the bus, think that she was the only reason anybody ever bought the game, and never apologized for what she said to Jennifer Hale. She's standing by what she said about Jennifer Hale. That's what she's doing here too. And she's not denying that she asked for residuals, which I know what they are now, they're royalties, but she said people said that she asked for $250,000. Who said that? No one said that. They said that you asked for 6 figures, not $250,000, a killer amount, just amount that was north of $100,000 plus residuals. You never denied that. What if it was more than $250,000? What was $300,000? This is why you need receipts. And the people who are still standing for her, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to apologize for her? Why are you making excuses for her? I'm going to say it right now. If you're still boycotting Bayonetta 3 after hearing all of this and you're not asking for her to supply receipts, you're an idiot, because basing it around lies, flat out lies. She is sitting there poker face and lying to you. This is what a liar looks like. And she's damaged her reputation. She's damaged everything that she had going for her in the game industry. She is a huge liability. Who would want to work with somebody who does this whenever they feel as though they had enough of her? They've had enough of putting up with this. Who's going to want to hire her? And she's still going. And then she said, oh, I want to put the franchise behind me. Now she's back. I hope Nintendo and Platinum Games do something about this, because I feel as though she ain't ever going to stop until they put their foot down and say, you know what, we had enough. We're going to file a lawsuit against this, because she's being an absolute liar and she's never going to stop us. She's holding on to her ground. Everybody's is lying except her. Everybody else in the world is lying except for her. Again, she's doing the Amber Heard school of lying, where no one else but her is telling the truth. And if you are still boycotting Bayonetta 3, and I know there's a few people who haven't said anything beyond that, then you need to really get your head checked at this point. I'm being dead serious about this. You really need to get up with the game here, because you're supporting an habitual liar who wants to damage the game industry, who wants to damage your reputation to do it. Zero credit whatsoever. And she's sitting here lying to you again. And all you gotta do is read it to see that her story doesn't add up. That's all you gotta do. May not even take documents. May take something called common sense. I mean, your body has a brain. Use it. And if you use it, you'll determine through common sense that this story does not add up. You don't need us or Jason Schreier or any outlet or any documents to tell you that. All you gotta do to know that she's lying is to use your head, your brain, your common sense. What else do you have to hear to realize that? What else needs to be reported? What needs to be said? What else do you need to hear? And this has nothing to do about her politics. This is one of those things where right and left wing people are agreeing that she is not being truthful. She is lying about this whole subject. This has nothing to do with what she's aligned with, what she agrees or disagrees with on a political scale. Now, are you going to ask for proof this time? Are you going to ask for her to give receipts this time? If you still are not doing that, then I don't know what else I can tell you. That you're just simping for her, and you weren't a fan of Bayonetta, you were a fan of Hellena Taylor. This is not about her. What about everybody else who franchise? Please understand this. Please. And to those people at Nintendo Platinum Games, look into this. I really hope this is not the end, because now I'm hoping that she gets sued, because she's damaging the game industry at this point. She's damaging any other credibility that any other voice actor has to get a fair compensation for their work. Which, yes, it is pretty low, but she's doing more harm than good here. Nintendo Platinum Games, sue this woman. She deserves it. Now to a bit of a happier note. As you well aware, survival horror fans have been getting a lot of good news lately. We've all been hearing about the Resident Evil franchise being well done in terms of the remakes. The Resident Evil 4 remake is being made and it looks unbelievable, as well as Silent Hill now being remade, and that's been going through. But now, one that I played to death. Gematsu had this story. Square Enix trademarked Symbiote Genesis in Japan, and Bandai Namco trademarks Dream Match, and we're not going to talk about the Dream Match. I have no idea what that's about. However, this is the important part of the story. Square Enix files a trademark for Symbiote Genesis on October 13th in Japan, which was made public today. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Symbiote Genesis, according to Wiki Dictionary, is the merging of two separate organisms to form a single new organism. It is the basis for the story of Parasite Eve, which first began as a novel in 1995 before expanding into a video game series developed by Square Enix in 1998. Okay, so if this is what we all think it is, Square better not F this up. Oh boy, this will be glorious. Here's the reason why. This is a game that I played to death in 1998 when it came out. It had different take on the survival horror genre, because it wasn't exactly survival horror. It was like survival horror met magic, met Final Fantasy, and it was a really good story. Now, I don't remember the entirety of the story. It was been a long time since I last played it, but one of the main trademarks about this particular game is the FMVs and how grotesque the monsters were. I mean, people who made those FMVs and the transformations and all the monsters, like the rat and the dog and the Cerebus, they had a lot of fun creating those things. If you ever seen some of those, and I'm not going to show it to you because YouTube's going to YouTube, you know how those are, but there were a lot of creative thoughts going into it, like the PE system, the parasite energy, the magic system. That was one of the first survival horror games in order to incorporate that, to incorporate magic, and it was like haste and detox and heal and stuff like that. Some of the Final Fantasy stuff going in there. No Final Fantasy crossovers or anything like that, but customizations of your weapons and your armor, and an actually coherent story. The chemistry between the characters, actually an Eve, which Eve was the main antagonist. And if you don't remember, this is one of the few games that in 1998 had a really strong female protagonist that was attractive while still being a bit of like badass, while still at the same time being a bit more feminine. She was like the perfect blend of that, and she didn't need to constantly say she was strong. She was able to show that, and she was able to show her flaws, to show that she could work through that. It was an all-around great game. Now, I haven't played Parasite Eve 2 that much, and that changed a lot of stuff that the franchise was known for. And then, of course, a lot of people didn't like the third birthday. I never got to play. I forget what system was on. Was it PSP or PS Vita? I forget which one it was. But I played this game to death. It was such a good game. It was such a good story. It was such a good experience. It changed how survival horror could be done. And the RPG element where you had random encounters, you didn't need to jump scare people, you didn't need to do anything like that. You could just have creepy imagery, you could just have creepy monsters, you can have just a all-around horrific story. You'd scare people in that sense. You didn't need to rely on sudden jump scares and stuff like that. Not saying that jump scares don't work, they're not relying on that, and you didn't really see jump scares in this game. And there was also replay element in the term of the Chrysler Building, which by the way I did complete, and the separate ending to that, and that was very challenging, I will tell you. Plus the music in this game was absolutely fantastic. It had the synth vibe to it, and I heard the composers went on to do more orchestrated work after that. Let's hope that if this is true, that they go back to the original sound that we got from the original game, because all those tracks were absolutely fantastic. That's usually something you don't see in AAA games anymore, is that kind of soundtrack. That would have been a huge blast from the past, and it would be so fitting for a game like this, especially for people who remember playing it and remember having so much fun with it back in the day. Now, as I heard, the reason why they're doing this symbiogenesis is because they can't really trademark the name Parasite Eve, because Parasite Eve is actually a novel that the game was based on. So what they could be doing is trying to trademark a name that they can use themselves, so they can make games without having to use the name Parasite Eve. They can use this name and get around it. And because Brea is a different character from what was in the Parasite Eve novel, they don't necessarily have to ask permission to use that character, because that's their character. That's Square Enix's character. So they can use her however they want. That leads the question, is this going to be something they're going to screw up? Square Enix has been on a hit and miss lately. They have been on a hit and miss for quite some time. So is this something that's going to be received really well, or are they going to screw this up? I hope it's not the latter, because this is a beloved series. I love this series. I liked this game. I played it to death. So fingers crossed that this is what we're getting and they don't screw it up. Please, please, this is the one that I liked. After all this stuff about Resident Evil and Silent Hill, oh, please, let's get this. And please let it be good. That will do it for this edition of the Shadow Report. Thanks as always for watching. Before we go, I'll give you OCRemix Track of the day. It is an old school one, so you're going to see some of the old school way that OCRemix did their videos back in the day before they went with the more waveform thing with the newer tracks, because Parasite Eve tracks don't get remixed as often for some weird reason. So I had a hard time trying to find a good one for this. Not a good one, because they're all good, but one that would fit in this particular situation. And I think I found one, which is the remix of the police station track that you hear in the game. Again, it has a awesome soundtrack, and I hope that if they do remake it, and I hope this is true, that they'll do the type of sound that they did in the first game before they get all orchestrated and stuff. This is called Tears of Contention, and this is remixing another track, Depths of the Night, which I see as a Chrono Trigger track, but we'll play it because it is a Parasite Eve track in there too. Bladator and the Alcon, I think pronounce it, but you'll see it in the description. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please give it a like, and please subscribe for more Geek Gaming Culture. Until next time, my name's CD, and that just happened.